since I got some time to talk and chit chat, um, I want to talk about staying ahead and the importance of it. You know, I've learned in my early years, and when I say my early years, even as a child, that sometimes the best things are hidden, the best things are quiet. The most work that you do on yourself, or building yourself, or becoming better, is always done quietly. I remember when my cousins, and I got a whole heap of cousins, y'all. When we used to go to the store, we used to get our money. We used to get allowance, and we used to get just because money because um my relatives, some of them believe in allowances, but most of them don't. They believe in giving you money anyway, and so that you can understand what you do with money and things like that, because you don't want to have in a mindset that the only money that you can get is through just hard work, scrubbing. That's not always the case. So, yeah, we would get, just because money, holiday money, things like that. And the first thing, when you're young, that's what you do. You buy a whole bunch of stuff. But I learned, for one, I never had a habit of wanting a lot of things. People would think like, oh, that's just humble. But everything that I asked for, I usually got. So, and I didn't ask for a lot because I really didn't care for a lot. And, if you're around relatives and things like that and kids, most of the time someone else has something that you like. We share a lot of things. And not only that, when you're around people who you really care about, that stuff comes out of the window. Kids don't really look at toys that doggone deep like that unless somebody else puts such an emphasis on it. It might be certain things, but not all the time. And so I was kind of, and most of all, I was kind of a content kind of child when it came to like gifts and things and just all that kind of stuff. I was always being fed, so I didn't have that issue being younger as a young child. And so when they would go to the store, I would, they would have to spend their money on shoes, clothes, everything else that they wanted to do, and I would just buy one or two things and save the rest. I had a bank account before they did too. You know how they had a kids bank account, and my aunt used to have to, for part of her rent, she would have to put $5 into my account every week. And so, and my grandmother would put $5 in my account every week until I turned 18. And so, uh, yeah, so I learned, how you see the money growing, so you get excited about that. I always get excited about that, and I never wanted to touch it. And so, when it was over, when everybody spent their money and they got all the edible treats and everything, their clothes, things like that, and then they wanted to get something else, they couldn't get it because they spent it. They spent everything. And then I would just come out, go, they were like, come on, Bill, buy me this at the store. I could use that. I would take that money and I'd be like, okay, sometimes I would go and buy it for them, but other times it's like, no, let's make a trade off. Let's make a deal. I know that sounds kind of bad, but that's life, and that's business. Okay, that's business. Okay, delayed gratification will help you, and so that's why I say you need to be 10 steps ahead. 10 steps ahead. If you're ahead on your bills, try to get at least 2 to 3 months ahead on the bills. There's some people who got a whole bunch of this doggone government money, and what they spend it on, body work, all kind of crazy stuff, instead of getting their credit together, getting their homes together, buying more property, getting themselves so they can be in a nice financial standing. They can be in a nice financial standing for the next year. And so, um, yeah, that's some people did. Some people came up, and did the right thing. But I will tell you that it will help you so much to do that. My goal is always, I try to pay my rent or pay my mortgage like 2 months ahead of time. 2 months ahead of time. And now I'm trying to do it for the whole year to get myself prepared for the whole year. Now, is that hard work? Yes, it is, because you got to push yourself. But listen, it feels so much better once you get that off your chest, because then you can take your mind and figure out other things to do. Once you get that out of the way, you can that extra income that you have left, you can focus it on multiplying it. You can focus that time on doing other things. I promise y'all, it might sound tough, but it is so much worth it, y'all. Get up, work. If you got to work 2 jobs, work 2 jobs. You do what you got to do. If you need to go to school and finish it, go ahead and do it. Scrub to it. I work 3 jobs. I worked 3 jobs, 2 full-time jobs and a half job while going to school. I was so tired. I was so exhausted. But guess what? It was so worth it. It was so worth it, y'all. And so, because you don't want to end up in, your 40s or your late 30s or even in your 50s. A lot of people wake up in their 50s and 60s like, I could have did this. You hear a lot of people, or hear people who are even successful. I have someone that I known before, and he has a very successful career, but he notices now in his later years that he could have done so much further had he just delayed some of his gratification, delayed some of his, finances, held off with spending his finances for something else, and it also deals with, who you connect with, because who you get involved with does hurt, harm, or build your financial portfolio. So you want to be around people who have the like mindset of saving, even if they're not asking you. That spiritual implication is so real. Like, it's a whole different demeanor. Once I started learning about financial literacy on a spiritual level, that took the whole game. It took the whole thing out, y'all. And so yeah, do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. Cut back on your eating. Another thing I had to do, and I had to check myself again recently because I be getting moving so fast. Okay, well, let me go get this on the way. Go get some extra stuff. No, cook at home. Save your money. Cook at home. Go to reasonable spots. If the local grocery store is not, giving you enough, food, or it's too expensive, try to buy in bulk. They got all these surplus stores, Costco's and Sam's, all those other, big names. This is the time to go over there to that, or go to the local market. One of the things I've done is that I don't get any of my greens from any store. I go to the local farm and I get it. We also have a free market that is actually about to close because it's winter, but the weather hasn't changed all the way to where you're able to get produce for free, and what I do, I know this sounds kind of weird, but I want y'all to keep this in mind. What I do is I take the money that I would spend, if you don't have it to spend and you really need it, use that until you can. But once you get into the habit and you get your mind focused on doing that, you take the money that you was going to spend on that food and you save it, and you see how that difference is, and you can apply that to another venture that you're having. So that's what I wanted to say with you guys. I'm going to get off of here. You guys have a good one. Bye.